Hey, what is going on you guys? It's Epic here and welcome back to a new video. What do you guys think of the view today? I think this is an awesome view. So in today's video we're going to be taking a look at my Tiebinder Amara build for of course Mayhem 4. Now if you've been a viewer on my channel for a while you're probably going to be thinking, Epic, why are we taking a look at the Tiebinder Amara build? Haven't we already seen this before? And the answer is quite simply yes. Yes, you have seen it before, and quite honestly nothing has really changed much about the build. In fact, nothing on the skill tree has changed at all. However, there has been some huge meta shifts since I showed off that build, so we're going to be adapting it to them shifts in this video. So the build is on screen now for those of you who actually need it. If you're using my old Tiebinder Amara build, you don't have to change your build. This is the exact same skill tree as it was back then, but for those of you who have never used the build before, the skill tree is on screen for you to copy down. Since I have already gone through this build in the past, I won't describe what the skill tree is all about, but basically in a nutshell it's just around lifesteal, elemental damage, shock damage, etc, etc, and it also utilizes the phase grasp ability. If you want to learn more about this build, you can check out my old Tiebinder Amara build where I go more in depth on all of the skills and whatnot, but for this video we're going to leave it there. Also, something that differentiates this build to the old build is that this build is quite heavily gear dependent and does go down the recursion meta. If you're not a fan of the whole recursion thing, then this build probably isn't for you, but whether you like it or not, recursion is high tier meta right now and this build utilizes it fantastically. So you are going to require quite a few bits of gear here, as well as some anointed gear as well. If you don't have any, my recommendation is to come along to my Discord server and try and trade for some, and additionally you can also farm for some this week during the farming frenzy event. So let's get into the gear. So the first weapon, and of course the most important weapon, is going to be a ×2 projectile recursion with the action skill end magazine elemental anointment. My god, that is a mouthful. We will again get into how this works later on, but for now let's move on. The Brainstormer remains in this build from the last time we saw it. Absolutely amazing, can take down pretty much any group of enemies you throw at it. It's basically a redistributor. A Corrosive and Shock Cuts Man, these are of course going to be used for my guy Wotan. When you're not fighting Wotan, you can additionally run a Maggie. You can also run redistributors or an ion cannon. For your anointment on the Maggie, you don't want to go for the lifesteal anointment. I had a few people when I was setting this build up say, is it worth going for a lifesteal anointment on it? And the simple answer is no. The simple answer of why we don't need a lifesteal anointment is because when we proc our action skill end and we gain those extra elements, the Maggie becomes an elemental weapon. What does this mean? Well, it means that sustainment will then proc and we will gain lifesteal with our Maggie. That means all of the pellets we shoot from it are going to heal us. So that's why you don't need lifesteal anointments on the Maggie or any weapon in this build for that matter. It's just not needed. For your shield, I went with the Iron Maiden stopgap. The whole equipment side of this build is very similar to my Feastmaster Flak build, link in the description, in the sense that the shield and the whole deal with your grenade and your relic are basically going to be the exact same. So I picked the stopgap because of the immunity on shield break, and while this isn't needed, it's definitely helpful. You could of course say, Epic, why not use a transformer or a band of Sitarak? And there are two reasons why. Firstly, we don't need the transformer because we're going to be killing stuff so quick that we don't have to worry about shock damage, and additionally, even if we do take shock damage, we have enough lifesteal to cover that to heal us. And secondly, we don't need a band of Sitarak, one because of its super low capacity and we don't have a shield like Zane to protect us from any incoming damage, and also we just don't need that extra damage, as I'm going to show you guys in just a second. So the stopgap was my pick for that, and I think it is a very good pick indeed. Moving on to our grenade, again, you don't need the piss grenade here, you don't need any specific grenade, just like on the flak build. And if I'm being honest with you guys, unless you're playing someone like Moze, I think grenades are just completely redundant in this game. But for those of you curious, I do use a hex grenade with the action skill and anointment again. Wherever you can get action skill and anointments, you want to get a unique element on every single piece of them gear. For my relic, I use the last stand auto idol. This is quite a funny one because the electric banjo is actually a really solid pick for this build. But the problem is when we're running the Maliwan takedown, which for me is quite a lot, the last stand auto idol just edges over the electric banjo because we're always going to be using the recursion to kill stuff. What do I mean by this? Well, since we're pretty much insta-killing every single enemy in the takedown, like I'm going to show you guys soon, we just don't need the electric banjo to chain to enemies. If you are totally against the recursion and you want to freestyle my build into your own kind of Tiebinder build, then I would of course say that the electric banjo is the better choice. Additionally, if you're pairing it with the redistributor, it's going to be absolutely insane. And for my class mod, of course, we still use the spiritual driver. This is hands down the best Amara class mod in the game, and it doesn't need any explaining. It is great. Quite obviously, you want to get as many points as you can into mindfulness for this exact reason right here. So I'm running at normal speed, I'm going to pop my action skill, and I'm going to start getting super quick. This is going to tie in with a few other skills in the build, which is going to help you deal an absolute insane amount of damage. So I still use the spiritual driver, and yes, like I said, if you can, get as many points into mindfulness as possible. So now that we're done looking at the gear and you guys have had a refresher on the skill tree, I thought what better way to test this than show off some Maliwan takedown gameplay. So I've got some pre-recorded gameplay which I'm probably going to roll at the end as B-roll, but I think for now let's actually go there and do some live commentary. So here we are at the Maliwan takedown, and when you're playing this build, all you want to be doing 24/7 is just looking at the ground and popping your phase grasp. This is going to make sure that you are always keeping up your additional elements, and it's also going to make sure you don't accidentally phase lock other enemies, but most importantly, it's going to keep you running like Sonic. Now, you shouldn't be doing what I'm doing right here and just looking at the floor running around, but what you do want to do is just run around like this, look at the floor, phase grasp, look up again, and keep going. So if you guys don't already know about the projectile recursion, it is basically a shotgun that beams from enemy to enemy when you shoot them. But what makes it really unique is that if you combine it with like action skill and elemental anointments, for example, you can shoot up to like 12 to 16 pellets at once. So if you see people one-shotting enemies with this gun like I'm about to do right here, that is exactly why. It's because it's just shooting an absolute bucket load of projectiles at once, and this build takes advantage of that marvelously. So I really don't need to explain how to play this build. If you saw the last video on the Tiebinder Amara build, you'll know that a good strat is just to run around like this, pull out your brainstormer, and then just begin like shooting stuff like this. And while that is good at shredding enemies and fantastic for lifesteal, I prefer the new method of using the recursion. And hey, it wouldn't be a proper video featuring the recursion if I didn't absolutely annihilate the Kraken at the entrance, so let's do that right now. He's gonna pop out the door here, and he's dead. He's dead, that's it, he's dead. But yeah, it really is that easy. This build is absolutely fantastic, and for those of you curious, yes, I have tested this pre-patch as well, and it is absolutely insane. But with that being said, that's basically going to do it for this build video, you guys. Now, on a closing note, I am of course running my Borderlands 3 giveaway. If you haven't entered it, go ahead, or if you don't want to enter it, then don't. Like I said in my last video, I really don't like making big deals about giveaways, but for those of you who actually care and want to have a chance at winning, then go ahead and enter. And also, the Vault Hunters Paradise is my Discord server, and hands down the best way to keep in touch with me and other members of our community. We just launched the trading and LFG channels for you to get involved with other Borderlands players and get your hands on some sweet loot. And we also just launched a bunch of new emotes. My favorite one is the Ava Die one, because I hate Ava. So if you guys want to get involved in my community and talk to me on a daily basis in my Discord Discord server, come and join the Vault Hunters Paradise. We're still small, but we're going to be growing every day, and we are looking for active members to help grow our community with us. Well, with that being said, you guys, that does it for my Tiebinder Amara version 2. I do hope you guys enjoyed, and as per usual, thank you so much for your continued support. It means the world to me. We just hit 6,000 subscribers on the channel, which is absolutely insane because we not long ago hit 5,000, and usually I'm used to waiting like a month or two before I even gain like 500 subs, but we've gained over 1,500 subs in a month. I can't tell you guys just how much that means to me, and I really hope I don't let you guys down. So if you've got any suggestions for the videos, please leave them down below. But on that note, you guys, thank you for watching. Thank you as always for your support, and have a nice day.
Armed and dangerous. I am the greatest. Ha! Down you go. Fully energized. Freaking legends. Another takedown. I'm even out.